Let them talk. Make eye contact. That's where I was going. What else?
Keep an open stance. Make sure that your body language matches what you're saying.
Make sure your body language echoes what you're saying. Because I've been with some companies before and they got it wrong. And I wanted to voice my concern. And the manager would come out and I wanted the manager to listen in that instance. And the entire time he's there listening, he's looking at his watch and checking his cell phone. And what I'm saying is not important. So we always want to make sure that we're authentically opening ourselves up to listen, especially when we mess up. Next, we want to move into apologizing. That doesn't mean apologizing that Becky messed up. Don't blame Becky. Just apologize. Don't throw anyone else up under the bus. We're one. They see us as one. We want to own it and see what we can do to fix it. And then that's when we move into the S, which is solve. And a lot of times, it may not be something that we can directly solve. A lot of times, it may not be something that you can directly solve. You might going to have to loop some other people into the mix. But we want to make sure that we're providing and passing that information along to the appropriate people or individuals who can solve it. And then we want to thank them. Thank them for sharing their concerns with us. Because had they not come to us and told us about this problem, this mess up that occurred, we would never know. Statistically, research tells us that individuals who share concerns, who basically complain, are 50% more likely to return to that same company for that same service that they voiced a concern or complaint about. And when we dig and unpack that a little deeper, they're 80% more likely to come back if that problem or concern is corrected. So just by listening and going through this service recovery model, there's a 50-50 chance that that patient is going to return just because we took the time to effectively do this. We listened. Our body language matched what we were saying. We're showing them that we're actually listening to what they have to say. We're apologizing. We're not playing the name game. And we're solving, or at least looping the other individuals in who can get that problem solved. And then lastly, but certainly not least, we're thanking them for sharing their concerns with us. Patients feel frustrated when they walk away and they just spent 10, 15 minutes explaining the problem to you, and they walk away feeling like you don't care. So we want to ensure that we're thanking them. So when you watch that video and you read the quote at the end, what comes to mind?
You never know what someone's been through.
You never know what someone's been through. Other thoughts? My first week at Baptist, I spent the entire week in a classroom training. First Monday I was out at training, I began to interact and begin my training with my colleagues within my department. One of the first things they did was show me this video. And it brought about so many emotions within me. Because for one, I was very new to healthcare. I knew that our department played an important role on the overall impact of Baptist Health. But watching that video, it helped me to really realize the impact that the individuals who make, and the impact that individuals in healthcare make every day in individuals' lives, simply by warmly greeting them, listening to them, smiling when you pass them. So as a student, and as a future employee in healthcare, and I know some of you are already working in healthcare, but when you think about our best, we're showing up every day, and we're giving our best to our patients, to our colleagues. We're working as one for this engaged service transformation. Each and every day, we're bringing all of our best. And my best looks very different from your best is going to look very different from his best. But just remembering, as individuals who work in the healthcare industry, that we do impact individuals' lives each and every day. Thank you for spending the last 45 minutes with me. Again, my name is Shannon Williams, and I'm from Organizational Development. If there's ever anything that me or anyone in my department can do to assist you while you're here with us at Baptist Health, please don't hesitate to reach out. Our contact information is available from your instructors and program coordinators. Thank you.
We do have one more speaker. I'm going to have to see where that person is. Dana Lee is going to talk to you. Are they here? Pardon? They're going to talk about HIPAA and corporate compliance, and then your big orientation will be done after that.
Yeah, so they have received sleeves for their Credo cards.
Yeah, I just got what she had left last time. So, I'll make sure. That's all that I have. The other person is, if y'all want to take like a 5-minute break, y'all may do so. Do you have anything?
That's it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I think I do.
Did anybody not get their box of goodies from me that needs the API stuff?
Especially that one. He's all upset. You don't have to come on, so but the quiz is not due until 11 o'clock, right? Or do anything. No, that's why I'm not sure if there was that they could just do. Yeah, but that's why. Because we're not close enough to us. And I was like, how are y'all doing on Friday? To be at class on that Friday. Last Friday. As for the signature, there's no now that we left that we just have to make sure that fix this is done. Nice. This one?
Hello! Hello! How's everybody? Happy New Year! Is anybody else hot or is it just me?
No.
Just me. Y'all think I'm super professional if I take off my sweater? Will you just keep going with that? Is there an instructor in the classroom?
We think they're,
Oh, were you looking for me?
Oh, she is.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Is that okay? Do you need to say something first?
No, I just want to give them a few minutes, all right?
Yes, ma'am. That's so nice.
I'm so sorry that I didn't do that earlier, y'all. They'll get a break, I'll come back in, they'll get a break, and then I've got to separate rooms.
Okay, so who all's in the room?
And they have a paper to sign.
Did I give that to me or pass it to the end of the row?
I'll put that here for you.
Okay. So what kind of students are you guys?
RNA.
So everyone's a nursing student? Well, who else do we have? Represent yourselves. What? Scribe techs and nurses. And who else? You think that's it? Is this everyone's first time? No? Okay, so have y'all heard me talk in the past? Yes. How many of you have heard me talk about privacy in the past? Oh, so not too many. Okay, we'll just keep rolling then. So do you have a handout called the 5 Hours of Privacy in your packet? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, good. Can I talk in this? It's so weird. Can you still hear me? Is this okay? No. So I have to wait just a second? You bet. You betcha. We're gonna wait just a second. Oh, hey y'all. What kind of students are they? LPN students. What do y'all want to talk about while we wait? Did anybody do anything fun over the holiday?
You got to sleep.
Got to sleep?
Very exciting.
We saw Jumanji. It was cute, if anybody's in the mood. It was cute, wasn't it? I laughed a lot. We also saw All the Money in the World, the new Mark Wahlberg movie. It wasn't all that great. The Greatest Showman was good. And my son has his first little college girlfriend. That happened. Yeah. He didn't come home one night. That happened. So, I've been dealing with a lot. It's just weird. You guys are all young, so it's normal for y'all. What about y'all? Anybody else got anything going on major? You want to talk about? You're in school? That's awesome. What were you doing before you were in school? Working. It's good to have a nice balance. Working in school.
Here's that for
Yes,
right
ma'am.
here.
That's okay. We should roll with it. My service engine soon light came on today.
My car wouldn't start.
I dropped it off across the street. Working over here.
That's
Do you know they're gonna charge me $125 to hook it up to the machine to tell them what's wrong? Doesn't that seem wrong? Like, shouldn't they just charge me to fix whatever needs to be fixed? I feel like that's like charging someone to drop the medicine. I mean, just charge them for the medicine. Anyway. But I'm kind of sad. Look at the magic over there.
That's what things I do. That's what it's tied to. 30 seconds. It will be that way.
Yeah.
I didn't grab it. You can take, like, how is that?
Like
They want her on the machine. The machine has her. Because if it were, she could do it all. And sit there and jerks their own. And ours are not good. Our issues I need to get on with them. Like, they'll ask for, they'll try to do, the machines taken or whatever. And so I'm gonna go do, making sure they know, like, pulse ox and everything, the heat and temperature. So, I'm gonna go buy the little one that we stick to you.
Oh my. So is there a clicker? What's the boss's name? Like it's a charge, what's her name? Oh, do I need to come down there to use it to log in? Can you make it show what's on my screen? I mean, I'm logged in and I have my presentation up, but it's not up there. There we go. And then do we have a clicker? Oops. Okay, so we're going to spend about an hour together. We're going to talk briefly about corporate compliance. Mostly we're going to talk about privacy because that's what I do, and that's probably what's most likely to get you in trouble. But we'll talk about some corporate compliance related issues as well. My name's Dana Williams. I'm the privacy officer for our system. I worked with Baptist Health, just celebrated my 19-year anniversary. Big deal. Only wanted to quit twice, so I feel like it's been successful. I worked in our Heber Hospital for 11 years, and then now I've worked in our corporate compliance department for 8 years. We're going to get started. I don't have a clicker, so I'll stay over here for a while, but then I'll try and get over there to you guys. I feel like y'all are way over there. So corporate compliance, sometimes people will ask about that because it's really not something you can go to college like you guys are and get a degree in it. I have a bachelor's degree in health information management and a master's degree in health informatics. But corporate compliance is really just any healthcare professional. So any of you, if you ever take an interest, can come and work in the corporate compliance department. It is really, our responsibility is primarily to the organization, but we have to partner, we want to partner with the people who take care of our patients and then the people who support the people who take care of our patients to accomplish a lot of goals to keep us out of hot water. I gotta figure this out a little bit better. So there's an important resource that everybody, how many of you are already employees? Oh, that's quite a few. That's good to know. So you're familiar with EmployNet, but as a student, you also have access to that when you get your password to get into the system. You can use EmployNet to look up policies and procedures and find all sorts of questions, answers to your questions, and that's where the Code of Ethical Conduct lives. So under the Corporate Compliance tab, it'll say Code of Conduct. I recommend that you read it. It'll have the information that we're going to go over with today. As an employee, do not commingle your student ID with your employee ID. So let's talk about what that means. Because we detect it in our audits and it causes problems. If you have a UID, and when you're a student you have what, an SID? So say you get an assignment and you're at work for your clinical rotation with your SID and you're looking stuff up. You can't then, like the next day, say you actually you're on the clock at Baptist. You can't use your UID to continue your SID work. Am I making sense? No. Okay, so what's a good example? So you have patient Dana on your clinical day. And then the next day, you come to work, but you're getting paid by Baptist Health. You're not a student that day, you're getting paid. You can't get back into Dana's chart on your work day to refresh or to study up or to look up medicines or conditions for your patient from your clinical day. Does that make sense? Because it's not fair to people who don't work at Baptist, because they don't have that opportunity to get back into the chart, right, and do more research and looking stuff up. And then also, oh,
patient information is defined to your role. So whatever your role is for the day, that's what you need to stick to. Don't commingle your roles and commingle your user IDs and passwords. For those of you who are working, and that will go for those of you who get jobs later on down the line. All right. So the Office of the Inspector General is the government's corporate compliance department, and they audit us. So I'll give you very quickly kind of what that is. So we're required to have policies and procedures. Where can you find those at? Employee Net. We have to have a corporate compliance officer. His name's Bill Watley. We like him a lot. He's been with us for 2 years. He's an accountant and an attorney, so he's a ton of fun to hang out with. I'm just teasing. He really is kind of funny, except he's from Alabama, so he was pumped this morning because they won last night. And he chairs the Corporate Compliance Committee. Training and education, that's why I'm here. It's a required element that the Office of the Inspector General makes us do. So we will talk to anyone who's forced to sit in a room and listen to us, like you guys are. We'll come to your staff meetings. If you have a project and you want to write about corporate compliance stuff or privacy stuff or ethics or patient rights, I mean, we're here to help and train and educate. We'll do anything that we can. We train the physicians, the board of trustees. Let's talk about effective lines of communication. I don't know why this slide is black. That slide is blank. But if you have a problem as a student, you should talk with your instructor. If something is really serious going on, you see something at the hospital, you're not comfortable talking to your instructor, you can report that to the compliance department. If you notice that someone is diverting drugs, you notice that we are taking terrible care of our patients, you can come and see corporate compliance. You can come visit us. All of you will have my phone number on the bottom of your handout in your packet. We also have a corporate compliance hotline. So if you're not comfortable even coming to see us, let's talk about the hotline. The hotline is manned by a company in another state. So you will call the hotline. The number's on EmployeeNet, the number's on our public website, because the hotline is available to patients, employees, people in the public, it doesn't matter. You will call the hotline number, they will type up what you tell them, and they will email it to me. Then we will investigate. And so please give us enough information that we can actually look into your issue. We will look into it, and we will type back a response. I was not touching anything. I might just try to do this from memory. We will type back a response. So you never hear our voice, and we never hear your voice. It is truly anonymous. They don't capture your name. You're welcome to leave your name if you want to, but you do not have to. So that was element number 4. So element number 5 is probably audits, and we do lots of audits. So I do privacy and security audits, but we also audit things like medical necessity, and do we put start and stop times for IVs, and do we have the right documentation to get paid for this heart cath? So one of the things, I said that anyone who works in healthcare can decide to go into corporate compliance. A corporate compliance person is just a rounded healthcare professional who is interested in rules, regulations, and reimbursement. So one of the main things we do is we audit your work to make sure that it entitles us to receive money. And if we are not entitled to that money, then we have to give it back. That's another one of our steps, is corrective action. As a licensed employee, because one day all of you guys are going to have licenses, the most important thing that you can do to prevent us from getting into trouble is to maintain your license. Do not let your license lapse, or your special certification. The government issues us very specific rules. For this particular test, the nurse has to have this kind of license and this kind of certification for this kind of sleep test, for this kind of heart cath, for this type of new med study. Those type of rules exist in all the different disciplines. So if you let your license lapse or your certifications lapse, and then we figure that out, we have to refund all of the money for the patients that you took care of. Because we are not entitled to that because we didn't meet the requirements. Does that make sense? So if there's anything you can take forward today into your professional life, is to keep up with your license. Just renew early. Don't wait till the last minute. Just renew. Element number 7 is, I don't know, we already talked about reporting concerns. Does anybody have any questions about the 7 elements of an effective compliance program? No? But I want to show y'all some pictures. Is there an instructor in the room?
I can run and look for one if you
That
want.
would be awesome. Because I want to show y'all pictures of social media violations and things that get people in trouble. Okay, so that's corporate compliance. Then I was going to talk about the Code of Ethical Conduct. There's some things that you cannot do. Do not ask patients or families to give you money. Don't accept money from patients or their families. They're going to try to give you money because they're going to love you. They're going to try to give you gift certificates and things. You're not allowed to keep those. Now, we are looking at revising that policy later in the year, but for now, if someone gives you money, politely decline. If they mail it to you after they've been discharged, give it to your instructor. And it's just because everyone receives our highest level of service. We don't want any patient to have the perception that they got better care because they gave us $20. Because is that true? Are you going to take better care of someone if they give you $20? No. But is the patient going to go home and say, they checked on me a whole bunch, but I gave her $20? And then the next patient thinks they have to give $20, and then the next patient thinks they have to give $20. So that's really important. Reporting any type of violation, like I said, you can use the hotline. Also in there is protecting our assets, so you cannot misuse Baptist Health assets for any reason. So what that means is there's no personal use of assets. You can't run to the lab and have someone give you a strep screen and not be checked in. You can't have someone help you to try and decide if your baby is a boy or a girl without being checked in. All of our assets are for direct patient care and official business purposes. So you're thinking, well, what happens when these things go wrong? And it's not that we don't think that these things happen. They definitely do. But you just have to ask yourself, is it worth getting caught? Especially as a student. You know, is it worth there being some disciplinary action from your instructors? It's just not worth it. Generally, people will get written warnings, and then if it happens again, then they'll be terminated from employment. But what we would say is that we wouldn't allow you to come back over and do your clinicals. So if you can't come and do your clinicals, then that's really going to interfere with your schoolwork, right? Other things in the code of conduct are protecting privacy, be honest. Anybody have any questions about the code of conduct? If we can get the computer back up, I promise I'll do a better job. So let's move on to your handout, because that I think I actually really can talk about, because that's my job. So can you still hear me? If I move around? Oh my. Your role in access to patient information is granted to you in your role. So typically that's going to be your role as a student. It could also be your role as an employee. And that is primarily what employees get in trouble for, is they forget about their role. So a couple of examples from recently. We had a husband access his wife's medical record. And it was detected in our audit. We have a very robust auditing system. We pay a third-party company to audit all of the accesses into the system. So I approached the husband. I said, hey, we're in your wife's record. Does it appear that there was a work-related reason for you to do that? And he said, yes, but I have a really good reason. And I said, okay, let's hear it. So he said, my wife, we suffered a miscarriage. It was very, very traumatic. And she lost her discharge paperwork. And it was time for her to go see the specialist. And I didn't want her to have to come back to the hospital where she suffered the miscarriage and get the paperwork from the medical records department. So I just accessed her record and I printed it all and sent it home to her so that she could spare her this hardship. So is that super sweet of the husband? Yes. Is that a policy violation? Yes. What happened to him? He didn't get fired, but he got a written warning. And if he does it again, then he'll be fired. So typically we only fire people if there's malice. If you have a beef with a patient, something weird is going on, you share a child, you're dating someone who he has a child with, any of that kind of stuff. Our two most recent terminations as a result of our auditing system have both been coworker snooping. So we know a lot about you. Like everything that they load into the student system about you flows over. So we know what class you're in, who your classmates are, that kind of stuff. So we can tell if you're looking at each other's records. We know where you live, so we can tell if you're looking at the record of someone who lives in the same household as you or someone who lives across the street from you. So we do coworker snooping, neighbor snooping. You're not allowed to access your own medical record. Why would that be? Well, you could change stuff, which would get you fired, for sure. I have a good change story, but we'll get right back to that. So, because it's not your job, right? The only reason you're going to get into the system is to do your job. And it's looking after your own medical records that have anything to do with your role as a student.